Good afternoon, everybody. This is Bob Iacchino of Path Trading Partners, along with my co-founder, Mike Arnold. And this is a Path Chat weekend stock update. Mike's going to go over some of the stocks we've been following that we pointed out some patterns on, see how those are progressing. If you'd like to know how we viewed last week and what we see as the important economic factors for this week, check out the Futures Path Chat and watch maybe the first 10 minutes of it or so, and you'll hear the review of last week and the preview of this upcoming week. And it's always good to know what's going on in the future, so you may want to watch the whole thing. Having said that, let me turn it over to Mike to let you know what he's seeing in the stock charts. Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Bob. Weekly stock updates on the longer term doubles we've been following. FNSR hit stop reduction a few weeks ago and just sitting back at virtually where it's entered, so not much to report there. NRG hit stop reduction last week, now on the way to the first target, so watch for 25.46. FCX slight rally back to near the entry levels, but it's with a stop reduction, so nothing else to do. We'd have to get stopped out on a close above 14.36. FNB stop reduction came down very close to our first target, rallied back up to the entry levels and slightly above, now turning back down, so we're going to see if it can finally reach fully the first target, which you can round up from $12.98 to $13 and then eventually extend down to about the $12.50 area. Qualcomm, as we talked about on the weekly podcast, this is now in triple bottom territory, so it cannot be traded as a double bottom. It was never entered because we did not get the close above 59.04. So now there's no trade there for it, at least based off the double bottom trade. There may be a trade if it does get back down below this 50.96 area based off a trend line trade into a lower clear path. But for now, it's coming off the charts. Over to some of the fanged stocks. We've talked about Google pulling back to the rotation zone. This did trigger a lower probability double, but that got caught on the rotation zone. That's why it was a much lower probability double. Moving back up, if it exceeds the highs coming in at 988.25, the next area is 999.93, so essentially 1,000. That just happens to coincide with the 1,000 that was the GAN projection, and then 1,011 to 1,012. So as if you're long Google, that's where you're going to be wanting to watch for some targets if you're trading it. Facebook is rallying to new highs. Got to the first projected to 161.72, which was on here last week. Now we're watching for a continued push to 166.93. Apple getting above here into the single candle. There was a shorter term trend line trade. It did catch on the rotation zone. So on another push higher in Apple, we're still watching for 153.37. There's a very key line in the sand, though. If Apple does get below this 142.31, then that's not a good sign for Apple, and you could see a much bigger pullback. Amazon also pushing to new highs, hit our first projection 1028.25, and we have another projection at 1039.50, which is not hit yet. So we'll be continuing to see if that goes next week up to those levels. Netflix, with their earnings and especially their subscriber count. If you want more of our take on Netflix, please tune into this week's podcast where we discuss Netflix and a bunch of other earnings in depth. Went through both our targets, 177.10 and 187.33, so nothing else to report there. Those were key GAN levels on this last run up. Would not be chasing this higher, and if you're owning some Netflix, our advice to you would probably take something off the table, and then if you want to re-add on a pullback, that would be probably the best advice. Nvidia pushing up just above the most recent highs. New levels on that, we're watching for 172.24 and 175.98 of the next two projected GAN levels. Tesla's very interesting. It's caught on the weekly rotation zone. If it does get below this 302 level, then that would not be a good sign of Tesla, and you could see it break down to around the 277 to 280 level potentially. Now, if it can get back above this 336, There might be a short-term trade, not investment, but a trade in Tesla that could have it run back up to, first area would be around the 350, then the 358 to 360 area. But that's a trade only. Finally, Shake Shack, early entry horizontal channel breakout, ran up a bit, now is pulled back and sitting at just a key level. Nothing else to do here. We're watching for it to get now back above the 36.64 area. That's all we have for you in this week's stock update. Turning it back over to you, Bob.
Thanks for that, Mike. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like what we're doing, and check out the Money Path podcast. Episode 81 is now out there at pathtradingpartners.com. You can also find it by typing in the Money Path podcast into Google Play or iTunes search. Also, check out our cryptocurrency updates. We've got a couple of technical and price action educational videos on cryptocurrencies, as well as a bunch of educational videos on the way the price action trades in Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you in the next Path Chat.